children, how are you? Uncle Trev has been reading a book. Do you like reading? Well, this week was World Book Day week, and on Thursday was World Book Day. I love reading because when you read, you can transport yourself to different places. You can go to places like this. Or like this. Or you can go to places like this. Or you can even go to places like this. Now, Uncle Trev really loves World Book Day. And one of the reasons I love it so much is that in our school, we all dress up as characters from books. We have so much fun. Sometimes I play this character. Do you know why pirates are so cool? Because they are. Once I played this character. All for one and one for all. One World Book Day, I went as this character. To be sure now, can you find my little pot of gold anywhere under a rainbow? And once I went as this character. Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have. All the better for seeing you with, my lovely. Now then, children, Uncle Trev has his own favourite character from a book of all time. I wonder if you can guess who he is. Let me try to give you some clues. Here's clue number 1. He's the king of his own world. Clue number 2. In his world, he gave his animals the ability to talk. Clue number 3. If you ever met him, he'd probably call you a son of Adam or a daughter of Eve. Here's the final clue. Clue number 4. 4 children entered his world through a wardrobe. Have you been able to guess who my favourite character is? Well, his name is Aslan. He's a lion and he's the king of Narnia. He appears in the Chronicles of Narnia, a series of books written by a man called C.S. Lewis. Now then, children, there are 7 books in the series of the Chronicles of Narnia, and I suggest that you start with The Magician's Nephew, because really that's the beginning of the whole series, okay? The Magician's Nephew. Now, C.S. Lewis was a Christian man, and although these are made-up stories, he links them to a true story, the story of Jesus and the Bible. So Aslan is a little bit like Jesus. When you read the story of Narnia, have in your mind what Jesus did. Let me try to explain. In the first book, we see Aslan as the creator of Narnia. So there are 2 characters, one called Diggory and one called Polly, and they're given these special magical rings that allow them to move around into different places, different universes, if you like. But they go to one place where it's really, really dark, and they hear this beautiful voice. And this beautiful voice is creating stars and planets and places. He creates a beautiful sunrise. And then they see that this beautiful voice belongs to this lion. The lion, Aslan. Aslan has created his world. And he gives all his creatures the ability to speak and to talk. And he wants them to enjoy Narnia. And Narnia is going to last forever. And he wants them to enjoy him, Aslan, as well. Now that reminds us a little bit of Jesus, isn't it? Because in John's Gospel, we are told that Jesus was there in the beginning because he was God, and he spoke and he created our world, and he wanted us to enjoy the world. He gave us lots of things to enjoy, but most of all, he wanted us to enjoy him. Now this is probably the most famous of all the books, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And in this book, we find out about 4 children who go through a wardrobe into the land of Narnia. Maybe you've read this book, or maybe you've seen the film. But when they get to Narnia, there's a big problem. The problem is a spell has been cast upon Narnia. Narnia now is always winter, but never Christmas. And the reason for that is that there is an evil one. There is the White Witch. And she has cast a spell over Narnia, and lots of the creatures in Narnia now follow her. But there are some who are still faithful to Aslan. And throughout the story, we keep hearing that Aslan is on the move. We keep learning that Aslan is still the king. He is the king of Narnia, and he is coming back to put everything right again. Does that remind you of anything? Well, when we open up Matthew's Gospel, Matthew wants to tell us about Jesus being the king, and that Jesus has a kingdom. Can you remember how Matthew starts? With the wise men searching for the newborn king. And Matthew keeps telling us about Jesus being the king, that he is coming to put everything right again. Everything in the Old Testament points towards this special king who's coming back to put everything right. So can you see there are similarities between Aslan and Jesus? So how else does Aslan remind us a little bit of Jesus? Well, in the story of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, one of the children called Edmund, he becomes a friend with the White Witch, who's really bad. And in doing so, he does some terrible things. Later on in the story, he wants to come back onto the side of Aslan again. But it's not that easy, because he's betrayed Aslan. He has become a traitor. In one sense, he now belongs to the White Witch. And in order for Aslan to win Edmund back, Aslan has to pay a price. Aslan has to pay a terrible price. Now, I don't want to spoil the story for you if you haven't read it, but Aslan has to do this thing on his own. And the 2 girls, Susan and Lucy, they stay with Aslan right to the very end. And then Aslan does this very, very heroic thing to save Edmund. Now, it does remind us a lot of what Jesus did. If you remember, right up to the end, there were 2 women who came to watch Jesus do something very heroic. Can you remember? And then Jesus had to pay a price to win back the people who had betrayed him. The Bible tells us that we've all betrayed Jesus, that we've all turned our back on him, and we've joined the evil side. And in order for Jesus to win us back, Jesus had to do something amazing. Jesus had to lay down his own life for his people. So, can you see some of the similarities between Aslan and Jesus? So there's one last way that Aslan reminds me a little bit of Jesus. Aslan is a lion. He's fierce. He can be ferocious. Sometimes in the story, he can be quite scary. Even the White Witch trembles in front of Aslan. And yet, he's a good friend. He's good. He's caring. He's gentle. He's kind to the children. And that reminds me so much of Jesus. Jesus is God. He's awesome. He's holy. He needs to be respected. And yet, he's gentle with us. He's patient with us. He's kind towards us. So children and mums and dads, can I encourage you all to read the Chronicles of Narnia? And as we read about this incredible lion called Aslan, may it cause us all to think about the greater lion, the Lion of Judah, Jesus Christ, who is our Creator, our King, our Saviour, and our friend. Happy reading, and God bless you all. See you next week. Bye.